Welcome to another episode of the Holistic Sister Circle. We have Clara Parati here with us, and I am so excited for you all to connect with her. She is a certified psychedelic integration specialist and coach, and she supports people in harnessing their psychedelic experience and self exploration to break old patterns, create lasting change, and fully embrace their inner power. Her holistic approach incorporates a comprehensive framework for profound healing and transformation. Claire, I'm so excited you're here. I can't wait to talk about your trip in Peru. Y'all, she was just in Peru, and I know she's going to tell us so much about her experience there. But without further ado, Claire, I would love for you to just share with us what's one thing right now that we don't know that's not on the internet that you can share.
Oh, one thing that is not on the internet that I can share. Okay. Well, I don't know if it's on the internet or not, but there's a lot about integration on the internet at the moment that it's very much about processes to create routines and kind of ritual and implement change. But one big thing about integration I don't know if I've seen it on the internet myself, is that at the core of it, integration is connection. So one thing that I like to start with is at the core of any kind of healing or holistic healing practice is connection to self, to others, interconnection as well. So, and that's actually one of the most natural things that exists. If you look at ecosystems, you look at nature, it's always good to look at nature to get an example. Nothing lives or survives by themselves. So we're going to be talking about connection when we talk about integration, and just to get the label of like inner work out of the way, because yes, this work, but actually is our natural tendency is to connect, is what we are here for, and that's how we thrive and that's how we grow. So that would be one of the things on that, that might not be clear on the internet, that integration is connection.
No, and I'm grateful that you mentioned this too, because I think honestly, during COVID and after COVID, we stopped hanging out the way that we once did. So when we would have those family gatherings or friend gatherings or just traveling, it just seems like now everyone is in the house majority of the time and we're still solely on the internet. And even through those moments, we're always looking, especially for us women, we're always looking to connect with other ladies and to really figure out, okay, even though I'm in my own bubble, who else can I collab with? Who else can I have a sense of belonging to, and what communities can I be a part of? And I'm grateful you shared that, because that was the whole purpose of us today on the Holistic Sister Circle. It was really to create a community where we could leverage one another and feel as though we had that backbone, but that backbone of support. Now, let's talk a little bit about psychedelic integration. Can you share what that is and how you were exposed to it?
Yes. So my area of expertise is to facilitate um, the integration of psychedelic experiences to create lasting change. So integration is a process through which you take the insights and what comes up in your experience. You take the insights and find the teaching in the insights and find a way of creating change through that insight and bring it back into your everyday life. It's a way of anchoring breakthroughs that you have, of reframing experiences as well. So say you had a challenging experience with plant medicine, that can be the biggest breakthrough that you've ever had. Sometimes things need to be broken down to be reassembled again in a way that's more harmonious and works better for you, is more functional. So that's, in a nutshell, integration is a process that helps you to go through your experiences, process the experiences to create change in your everyday life. So taking the beauty and the expansion and the unconditional love that you feel during the ceremony and bring it into your life to create harmonious change.
Mm, very precious. What do you Now, I know we may have some listeners who don't know much about again, the psychedelic portion of it. And sometimes when you hear the word psychedelic, you hear psychosis. Sometimes you're not sure exactly what it is that you're going to get, especially when it comes to different herbs and psychedelic mushrooms, for example. When someone is really focusing on this type of work, what are they, what can they expect from this experience?
They can expect to have an opportunity to transcend the mind and tap into the fabric of their very being, something that's beyond the logical mind, in order to be able to shift perspective, to see things differently, and to find solution to problems that they might be stuck in, or issues that they might be stuck in. So working with altered states allow you to tap into other realms of consciousness, where you can explore things in a new way. It's very much about seeing things in a new way and become a new you through that process. And a person that's much more connecting to the true nature as well, which is much more kind of soul-centered as well.
And you know what? This is so interesting. So last year, I went on a trip to Jamaica, and it was, oh my gosh, the best experience. We were on a retreat. And one of the things that we could do while we were there was we had an opportunity to take psychedelic mushrooms. Now, not everyone took them, including myself. I did not because I didn't want to understand and create that experience, but I didn't know. I knew I needed to be in a certain frame of mind, and I needed to also make sure I was calm through that entire process. And because back then at that time, I was still a bit anxious when it came to a lot of different things. I did not want to be in a position where I felt like I was learning more about this experience and I was scared or frightened and I just didn't know how to shake myself out of it, right? So I would love to know from you and your kind of point of view of this is what frame of mind does someone really need to be in before they decide, okay, I'm going to go down this particular route and really focus on that state of mind? Because I do think it's important that not everyone just jumps into it without the appropriate counseling and people around them to really help them thrive in that experience. But also as the individual, I do think it's important too that you know that you're grounded enough to have this transformation and to have it in a way where it's bringing you peace and understanding and awareness and not fear and anxiety.
That's a great question. Thank you for asking that. And let's start by saying that plant medicine is not for everyone. First of all, for some people, there are certain contraindications if they had or have still certain conditions, or they take certain medications, and I wouldn't recommend it. So there should be a screening, an intake form before you actually take them, especially within a retreat setting, to check that it's okay for you to take them. And also, even once that you're okay to take them, they're not for everyone. Everyone uses different tools for self-development, growth, for healing. So being prepared, preparation is an essential part of integration and making the most out of your journey. And it's very, very important. So it sounds like if you've listened to your intuition, you didn't feel that you were ready, it was the thing for you in that moment, it's great that you listened to it. And it's also good to get good preparation. And preparation is not just you do the dieta, for example, that you diet in a certain way before you take the medicine. It's very holistic. It's more body, mind, and soul. So what are you bringing into the ceremony or into the experience? So certain settings. What is your mental state? What is your emotional state overall? Why are you doing it? I mean, that's when I do preparation sessions with clients, and I always start from there, asking why you're doing it. It's so important. And of course, setting intention is important. Good intentions is also good not to get too fixed and not make it into an expectation. An intention can be fluid and it can change as you are in the journey with the plant as well. But clarifying the reason why you're doing it is very important, because that's what you're pulling in energetically when you then take it. And also, it's really important to be prepared and have your nervous system, have a calm nervous system, be in a state of, tranquility and relaxation and direction when you take it. And also do it in an environment that feels safe, that you feel held in case you need any support. Very, very important to do this. It will have an effect on how you then integrate it. And I mean, one thing that I like to say, by the way, to demystify the psychedelic experience to a lot of people, and again, I'm not saying everyone should do it, is for some people, I found it immensely, helpful for myself, is that you're doing something quite similar every night when you go to sleep. So that's a psychedelic journey when you go to sleep. You basically tapping into the natural DNT that's within your body. And that really gives you an example of the psychedelic journey, shamanic journey in general, because we need to sleep to regenerate the body. And that sleep is the healing journey that we do every night. And we do it within our consciousness as well. We go to places to get regeneration and then come back, which is in principle is what the shamanic journey is and the plant medicine journey too. So just to demystify it, that you're doing it already every night.
Okay. This is okay. And I'm so grateful that we're talking about this topic, because obviously there's people there's like pros and cons to it, right? Depending on the person and what you see fit for you. And I love how Clara mentioned too, as well, for those of you all who are listening, is at the end of the day, no one knows your body the way that you know your body. So even if you feel like maybe this is the season for you to do it, that's great. This is a great connection that you can have. Or if you feel like maybe this isn't the time or the place or the season for you, that's okay too, because we all are in different seasons and we're all have different experiences and are exposed to different things. So I'm grateful that you did share that so people know that they have options. Now, I feel like this also leads back into your trip to Peru. Can you share with us what that experience was like? Yeah, I want to know the details. What did you do while you were there? Why were you there? Tell us.
Okay, so I decided, again, going back to why I decided to go. I've been doing plant medicine here in the UK and in Europe in general for years, and I trained, and I hadn't had the opportunity to go to Peru. And then this year I got a gap, a couple of months where I was really free. And I also needed to really take a break from the city and immerse myself in nature. And I felt called to go to Peru and work with the people tribes there and do plant medicine. So it was very much about reinforcing my sense of direction for my life. I already have, a direction, a life path that I can see. That's where I want to head towards. Sometimes I still get self-doubt. I still don't trust. And I got to a point where I'm like, I actually really want to work on this a little bit more. I want to explore more than work, because it makes it sound like it's hard work. But I want to explore that side of myself. Why is this still coming up? And sometimes quite strong. So I went to Peru to work, as I said, to taking plant medicine in the high jungle with the Shipipo shamans there. They're actually not called shamans, they're called curanderos, maestros. And the experience was so beautiful. I mean, I've been to the jungle before, another area of the jungle years ago, taking medicine there where the actual medicine comes from, and going to a ceremony where you have people that have trained all their lives to do that work. They do extensive dietas for years and years since they're little, to really connect to the plant spirits. And ayahuasca is just one of the plants that they work with. They work with loads of kind of different plants. And while I was there, I brought my intention of I really wanted to cultivate more trust. Because I had sometimes I still don't trust. And that's a really kind of fundamental, thing for healing and for manifesting purpose. So I went there, and it was such a beautiful experience. And I got to really do the whole process where you do the ceremony in the dark. There's the sound of the jungle that surrounds you. And they first start kind of using tobacco to purify the room. And then they come afterwards to you to sing echoes to you. And really the echoes, what they do, there are songs that put new stories into you. And energetically, there are songs that are designed to fine-tune your frequency of your body. So if they see disturbance on your frequency, they sing towards that area. And these songs, they basically, the plants give them the song, the melodies, when they diet on these plants for years. So that was a beautiful experience. What I got to find out about my intention, they changed over time. It was very interesting how it developed, because during the ceremony, the plant really made me look at my past and my history and look at where I was supported by people, by the universe in general. And I started being so grateful for that. And I realized, my God, even when I felt that I wasn't supported, I was. And that's what really, I realized there's a real connection between trust and gratitude. Because if you look back that way in your life, then it's easier to trust, because you already can see, you have evidence in your life that you're being supported. And so it's much easier than to trust in the moment and not worry about the future. And then, so that was one of the connections as well. And then self-care came afterwards, because I'm like, okay, if I'm grateful for everything that is my body, this world, then I'm going to take good care of both. So that's why I also think that plant medicine can be such a catalyst for the evolution of the planet as well, for environmental awareness, for so many things. That was my experience in a nutshell. It really reinforced. It was very simple. The teachings that I got were very simple. I don't tend to get that many visions anymore. I did more at the beginning when I first started taking plant medicine. And now it kind of messages and teachings.
Wow. This is so interesting. So can we backtrack for a second, just for people who may not know what a ceremony is or what a shaman is? Can you just share a little bit about what is that exactly? Who is that? And then what is a ceremony? What do they do there? That would be awesome.
Of course, yes. So most indigenous traditions in the world have been using plant medicine for millennia as a way of heal the people in their tribes, and as a way of getting messages from higher levels of like existence and spiritual realms as well. So a shaman, in a nutshell, is referring to what I was saying earlier as well. It's someone who travels through worlds, inner worlds, to find new information and to help the healing of their tribe. That's what a shaman does. It used to be the doctor of the ancient world. Shamans used to be. And these are the shamans of Peru. One tribe, the Shipibo tribe, because there are many tribes and many different traditions. They call themselves curandero, which means healer. They're healers. So if we think about even, in the Western world, there used to be healers in the old days. They used to use plants when hospitals didn't exist. So really it's the same, even healers in our Western world in the old days, what kind of shamans, in a way, they were using concoctions and potions to heal when there was no access to medicine or modern medicine or hospitals. So that's what a shaman is. In some areas of the world, some of the plants that are used are psychedelics. So they have a psychoactive effect that will put you in an altered state as well. And so usually the shamans of the tribe, they wouldn't just give you the plant like that. They would have a ritual around it, because for them it's a really sacred ritual. It's a really sacred act to give you that plant. They believe there's an animistic view, and they believe that every plant has a spirit that can work with you to help you heal and to help you find what you're looking for. So everything is done within the container of a ceremony, because there's a ritual to give thanks to the plant and to create a sacred space, like a clear space, to give this plant to the person and do the work that needs to be done, the healing that needs to be done. So that's what the ceremony is about.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for sharing that, because we definitely have two types of listeners. One who has done the work and know exactly what you're talking about, and the other who's just getting started on their journey and have no idea. So I certainly appreciate that. Now, what I would like to do is go back to you just talking about focusing or being intentional about why you were there and really focusing on the trust aspect. And I resonated with what you were saying so much because I still, even me to this day, I still have areas of my life where I don't trust in a way that I know that I should because of past data. But at the same time, within that data, sometimes the data can be misconstrued. And what I mean by that is just because there may have been an experience that had happened, it doesn't mean that that experience is going to continue to happen. And it doesn't mean that that experience hasn't evolved. So I would love for you to share what are some practical steps that our listeners can take on both ends. So someone who will start off with someone who may know that they have some areas of concern in their own life. And for whatever reason, they have these blockers on and they're not really able to get over the hump, but not necessarily ready to go down the psychedelic medicine route. What are some practical steps you can give them? So that's A. And then B, for those who have essentially done all that they can do and are actually ready to take it a step further, what is that process and what are those practical steps you can give them as well?
So the second example, taking a step further, in what way? Taking like psychedelic medicine or?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So one of the practices that I use for integration is called psychosynthesis. Psychosynthesis is a transpersonal psychology. It's basically a soul-based psychology that works with different levels of the psyche. It's a very kind of psychologist that divides the psyche in lower unconscious, middle unconscious, and upper unconscious. When we are talking about blocks and barriers, they usually come from the lower unconscious part, where there are maybe memories or emotions that haven't been processed, past history. So I would say making friends with whatever comes from that part is the very first step. Now, in psychosynthesis, we call what comes up there parts of the self, and in other ramifications of psychology as well. And there are parts of you that come up that have come along at some point in your life to protect you, usually for your own survival, and then served you for a while, but then now they don't serve you anymore, now that your life has changed. And so it's very much about making friends with those parts, trying to listen to what they want to say, how they, for example, are trying to protect you. You know, not just how they are somehow blocking you, but also how they're trying to protect you, what they would need, for example, as well, to feel safer and to be less reactive. Because usually those parts that block, they're a distortion of something that can actually be really helpful for you as well. They're just an extreme, end of it. But it's about really making friends with anything that comes up and try not to resist it and try not to kind of numb it out, but be able to be present with everything that is and breathe and then go back into the body. It's part also what I do is somatics, try to just stay in the body while that's happening rather than going somewhere else, because the only way to deal with it and bring change to it is to try to understand it rather than reject it. So that would be the very first thing, to try ask what do you want to tell me why you're here, for example, why is this happening? But with compassion, not with judgment, which can be hard to do, you know. And then for other people who want to take plant medicine, I would say, think about it as if it's going to be a tool for self-empowerment. The plant is not going to do the work for you. The plant can help you as a tool to expand your perception. At the end of the day, it's still up to you to put effort in it and want to bring change to your life. So that's one very first thing that I want to say for people who haven't done it, because I know on the internet it's been like 10 years of therapy in one ceremony. I don't think so. I don't know if that's ever really happened. I mean, someone had that for them, but actually, it's not a quick fix. It's an amplifier that can really help you catalyze the change, only if you put your effort into it as well. So, and it can be beautiful, but again, like you were saying, getting prepared and doing it intentionally and consciously, it's very, very important if you really want to get the most out of it and have a safe experience as well.
Absolutely. Can you share? Well, one, Clara, just thank you so much for sharing this with us today. This has been amazing, and I know that everyone has learned so much, as I have as well. Can you share, just for those who are wanting to take a step further and identify plant medicine and they really resonate with what you're saying and they want to connect with you and learn more about what that process looks like? Can you share how we can get a hold of you and work with you?
Of course, yes. So you can find me online. I've got a website called calltosource.com. I'm also on Instagram. Again, it's the same, Call to Source. That's my Instagram account. And also, I will shortly release and launch a podcast about psychedelic integration. So we're going to be talking, me and a colleague and friend of mine, Julie. We're going to co-host this podcast. And we're going to go dive into psychedelic integration processes for it, the benefits of conscious navigation. So it's not going to be just about psychedelic, but it's going to be about the conscious exploration of your inner world, the exploration of consciousness, and how that can help bring long-term change, how that can help evolve humanity at large, because that's how I see it. That, as I said, it's not for everyone, but for the people who resonate with plant medicine, it can bring a huge change in terms of collective consciousness as well, and it can have a domino effect. So we're going to be talking about all that, like plant medicine and conscious navigation for personal and collective growth. That's going to be the Psychedelic Integration Compass, and I'm going to be advertising it on my Instagram and website.
Yeah, no, I'm here for it. I'm excited. You'll have to let us know when the first episode releases so we can share it with the audience as well.
I will. Yes, that will be.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time. I'm super grateful that we were able to have you on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been amazing. Thank you.
Queen, thank you so much for tuning in. It truly warms our heart that you're taking the time out of your day to connect with us. If you'd like to connect with our guests further, you can find their information located in the description section of this episode. And if you found this episode helpful, share with another queen, and don't forget to connect with the Holistic Sister Circle on Instagram and Facebook. And until next week, stay blessed. Mwah.